I think when you as a person evolve over the years, so does your craft. The more you sort of live life, your perspective changes. Not that I feel like when you're younger, you don't have a perspective. It's just a certain kind of perspective. And the more life you take in and the more experiences you have, it just evolves. How it evolves and whether it evolves for the better or for worse, we don't know. I think that only time will tell. But I definitely feel since I've entered my 30s, there's a certain comfort with really who you are, which someone had told me, you know, when you enter your 30s, you just like stop caring about certain things, which you really cared very deeply about in your 20s. So 30s bring a whole new sort of perspective altogether. And then I'm guessing the 40s have something else. So there's actually so much to look forward to with every decade. Now with me and the movies, it's been about, I can't really count, but like over 12 years now. So I think when I look back at the way I used to approach my films when I was 12 years ago, the way I would approach my films now, the approach is still the same. I think just the takeaway changes with each film.
How has becoming a mother influenced your choice of roles and your perspective on your career?
I guess I'm not even sure how it influences it, to be very honest. I think there is definitely way more empathy. I think your heart is just wide open. There is something that, a sensitivity which you can't put your finger on. But I think, I don't know about how I've chosen my roles differently or how I'm going to take a path different. I just don't think I'm the same person. So by the byproduct of me not being the same human being that I was, I think, pre-being a mom, I think naturally a lot will change without me being like, okay, now I'm a mother and now I think in this way. I just naturally think differently and I don't think I'm the same person. I mean, that's one of the first things that I noticed. It was just like there was a person that was just gone. I was like, who am I? Who's this new person? Okay, let's get to know her a little bit, you know.
What has changed? Like, if you can give one example.
It's too difficult to put into words. I can have silent conversations with new moms and they'll just get exactly what I'm saying. I don't know. It's just a sense of like it feels as though you are always, it's like I know they say this, like somebody's just taken your heart and put it outside your body, you know, and that's what you feel for your child or for this other being. But it just actually feels as though you're never alone. It's actually in a lot of ways, initially the experience being very isolating because you're so sort of focused on nurturing and caring. But at the same time, because now I'm here and like my heart is at home because my daughter is at home, it just feels as though I'm never alone. Like the thought and the presence of her is always with me. So by those means, you're not thinking about yourself as often. I think that's the biggest thing that's changed. Your world from being inward just becomes outward to that one person, and then you become so much more sensitive to everyone else's journey. Everyone else's tears affect you as though it's your child's tears. Everyone else's pain affects you as though it's your child's pain, because you look at the world from your child's perspective. That, oh, one day this could be her, or oh no, I hope this never happens to her. So it's just like you're wide open. You're emotionally just wide open. So like, you know, and I would see that in my mom. She would open the newspapers and suddenly start crying and see some distressing news, or then see something happy and just be so happy and proud, and would never understand it. But now I do, and that's why you have to really experience it to understand it. But I hope I've done a good job explaining what it feels like.
No, it's so beautiful the way you have explained it. It felt.
Yeah,
I felt something.
I tried.
I will move to Indian cinemas. So with Indian films increasingly being showcased at festivals like Cannes, do you think global recognition is finally catching up with the depth and diversity of Indian cinema?
I think Indian cinema is so large. We are a continent in itself. You know, you say India is a country, but if you look at our culture and you look at our diversity and look at how the language literally changed, the dialect, the language, the colors of clothes, the food literally changes every 3 kilometers, if you have to put it simply. We are extremely rich in our culture. So I think the global recognition is something, like I'm going to say it in Hindi, wo jab aayega aayega, jaise aa raha aane do. That's not going to change what we are doing, and that's not going to change what we're bringing to the table in terms of culture, cinema, art, music, and all of that. I do feel extremely proud when, Payal Kapadia wins such a big recognition at the Cannes Film Festival. I do feel very, very proud when I see the team of Homebound walking the red carpet, everybody in their Indian attire, really owning. But I do feel that I don't even feel it's the beginning. Like I feel it's just about time, that there is a certain awareness. But I feel like it's just a dam waiting to burst, because we have so much to offer.
Are there any regional filmmakers or actors you would collaborate with? You would love to collaborate with?
Again, I think we're all one region. So I wouldn't want to discriminate. Discriminate is the wrong word. I would not want to differentiate us from anything. The one thing that actually the pandemic taught me is that we're all actually one unit. And with now this whole thing of, content sitting, actually on one platform, which is a global platform, which everybody gets to view. That's a huge exposure for any kind of content, whether it's, Korean content or, Japanese content or Malayalam content or Punjabi content or Kannada content. You know what I mean? There is certain availability of open platform for all sorts of, like day before yesterday, I saw an animated film that I think won the Oscar, which is a Philippine animated production, Flow, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, oh wow, it's so amazing that I get to see this. I get to see somebody else's perspective because of the platform that's available to us. So the coming together of different voices globally is a thing of the now, but it's not like it was not making an impact earlier as well in their particular area. Coming back to who do you think I would want to work with? I mean, there's so many actors and there's so much talent out there. I had the good fortune of working with Roshan Mathew on Darlings, who's of course a wonderful actor who's done a lot of Malayalam content, but is now also making waves in Hindi. Fahad Fazal is someone that I really admire his work, and he's such a fantastic actor. I think Avesham was one of my favorite films, and he was just unreal. So I would love to collaborate with him someday.
I'll move to next question. How do you choose your script? You have done all kind of films, commercial and conventional and unconventional films. So how do you choose your scripts?
Again, with no particular strategy in mind, because what happens, especially as an actor, my father made me very aware of this when I was younger, is that what happens is, once you say you see success in a particular film or a genre, because you're so focused on trying to get that success again, you might just try and emulate the same process. And by nature, what happens is you start repeating yourself, and then you don't really challenge yourself. So I think for me, I never look at which category it comes under, whether it's commercial, unconventional, conventional, realistic. All these, boxes are put by the viewers. That is not something for me to assess. I actually realized much later कि कौन सा box में आता है. Once I've already started working on it, I just go with like, okay, what is this going to do for me as an actor? How am I going to be challenged with this as an actor? And of course, for me, the filmmaker and the writing is extremely important. Like, I am a writer's daughter. I live in a family of writers. My mom's a writer, my father's a writer, my sister's a writer. So for me, writing, even now as a producer at my company Eternal Sunshine, the process I enjoy the most is development, is script development, because that process is where it all begins. I have not even scratched the surface. I have literally no idea what I'm doing, but I know that it's a very satisfying experience only because you're creating literally from scratch, from where it begins. So I always try and go behind the page as an actor as well, and try and bring the film to life in my head, and then of course instinctively go with something different because I just will get bored doing the same thing.
As someone who has been vocal about women in cinema, what do you think still needs to change for women both in front and behind the camera?
I think what needs to change, or what I still find just tugs a little bit, is that it's still a special situation when you talk about women being behind the camera, or women being at a certain position of power in front of the camera, or just in whatever field. It's told as though it's a piece of news, as though it's something special. Whereas I would love for it to reach a point where it's just the way it is, and it's not something that we need to take note of. Like, we don't need to take note of the sun shining every day. We don't need to take note of that. We don't need to take note of the need for us to drink a cup of water. It's not something special because it's just habit. It's just existing. So I want us to exist in a world where women having certain opportunities is just the way it is. But for that, we have to champion and talk about it in a certain way. For example, last night I was at the Light of Women Awards, and where there was literally light being, bestowed upon these incredible women who had made short films that were, put together and judged by the most amazing juror, Viola Davis. And she said something so wonderful about the film that she chose, about how it was so honest, and how it's the kind of honesty that she wished she had. And I was very grateful for that moment of her speaking so honestly, because it's because of her honesty in that moment that's going to inspire so many other women. So I think when it comes to championing the way, you cannot do it without lifting each other up. You cannot do it without sisterhood. You can't do it alone. You have to do it together. And that's something that I really stand by, and I take a lot of inspiration from.